If you are over 70, what you ate today may be increasing your fall risk. Most falls after 70 do not happen because of weak legs. They start in the kitchen. And one of the foods causing it is something you may have eaten today. And no, it is not junk food. That is why most people never see it coming. In clinics across Japan, where fall rates among older adults are among the lowest recorded anywhere in the world, doctors keep seeing the same pattern. Older adults eating completely normal foods, foods considered acceptable, even healthy, and slowly, quietly losing the muscle strength, the nerve response, and the reaction time that keeps them on their feet. And this is the part that leads to falls, because none of these foods feel dangerous. None of them cause a dramatic change you can notice from one day to the next. They work slowly, quietly, until one completely ordinary moment becomes the moment everything changes. Today, we're covering 5 foods: alcohol, hidden sodium, refined sugar, ultra-processed foods, and one meal millions of older adults eat every single day because they believe it is healthy. And that may be the single most dangerous mistake on this list. And one of these foods is recommended by doctors in the United States. Stay with me, because one of these foods is almost certainly in your kitchen right now. Before the foods, you need to understand the 3 systems every fall depends on. The first is fast-twitch muscle strength. These are the muscle fibers that fire in the fraction of a second when your balance tips unexpectedly. Not the steady strength of walking across a room, the explosive, reactive strength that catches you when your foot clips a rug, when the pavement shifts, when your weight moves somewhere your body did not plan for. These fibers decline faster than any other tissue after 70, and they are the most vulnerable to what you eat. The second is peripheral nerve function. Right now, the nerves in your feet and ankles are sending a continuous stream of balance signals to your brain. Every surface, every shift of weight, every micro-adjustment your body makes with each step. When these nerves are damaged or slowed, those signals arrive late, and the correction that should happen in a fraction of a second arrives too slowly. And that fraction of a second is exactly when hips break. The third is bone density, not because strong bones stop you from falling, but because when a fall happens, bone density is the difference between walking away and a fracture that changes everything. A hip fracture after 70 carries consequences most people never fully recover from. Every food on this list is quietly attacking one or more of these 3 systems right now. The first food is the most immediate, the most direct, and the one most people are most resistant to hearing about: alcohol. Not chronic heavy drinking, regular moderate drinking, the 1 glass of wine with dinner, the beer in the evening, the routine that millions of older adults consider completely harmless. In Japan, this is now treated as a primary fall trigger in adults over 70, not binge drinking, regular moderate drinking. Because after 70, the body handles alcohol in a way that is fundamentally different from how it handled it at 55. The liver metabolizes alcohol more slowly. The same amount that produced a mild, manageable effect at 55 produces a meaningfully stronger effect at 72. Blood alcohol levels rise higher, they stay elevated longer, and the body has far less tolerance to the disruption. Alcohol directly suppresses the cerebellum, the part of your brain responsible for coordinating balance and postural correction. Even at blood alcohol levels well below legal impairment, this suppression measurably slows the postural correction response, the automatic adjustment your body makes when your balance tips unexpectedly. It attacks fast-twitch muscle fibers directly. It disrupts the deep sleep during which your nervous system recalibrates its balance responses overnight, and chronic regular consumption accelerates bone density loss simultaneously. 1 drink every evening is quietly weakening all 3 fall prevention systems at exactly the same time. They feel fine, they feel in control, they feel nothing like someone whose fall risk is increasing, because the damage is not dramatic, it is cumulative, and it is happening below the threshold of anything you can feel from one day to the next. You stand up from the dinner table after a glass of wine with your meal. The room does not spin. You feel completely fine. You walk toward the kitchen. Your foot catches the edge of a rug. Normally, your body corrects in less than a second without conscious thought. Tonight, that correction is a fraction slower, and that fraction of a second is exactly when hips break. That is the moment most people never connect to what they drank an hour earlier. Reducing to 2 or 3 drinks per week and moving any drinking to earlier in the day rather than the evening will measurably reduce the impact on your balance, your muscle recovery, and your bone density. The second food is not about salt. It's about something causing dizziness in the exact moment people fall. Hidden sodium. Not the salt shaker on your table, the sodium buried inside bread, canned soups, deli meats, condiments, sauces, and packaged foods that most older adults eat every single day without any awareness of how much they are actually consuming. A single slice of commercial bread contains up to 200 milligrams of sodium. A can of soup can contain 800 milligrams or more. Most older adults eating an ordinary diet are consuming 2 to 3 times the recommended daily sodium without adding a single grain of table salt. High sodium intake contributes to blood pressure variability, including the sudden drops in blood pressure that occur when standing up from a seated or lying position. In Japan, this is now actively treated as one of the primary warning signs in older adult fall risk assessment. That dizziness or lightheadedness you feel when you stand up too quickly, that lasts only a few seconds, but a few seconds of impaired balance and reduced blood flow to the brain is exactly the window in which falls happen. And simultaneously, chronic high sodium intake is driving calcium out of your bones. Every time your kidneys excrete excess sodium, they pull calcium along with it, month by month, year by year, quietly reducing bone density in a way that never announces itself until a fall reveals it. You get up from your chair in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. The room tilts slightly. You reach for the wall. Most nights you catch yourself, but one night the reach is not quite fast enough, and that fraction of a second is exactly when hips break. That is the moment most people never connect to what they drank an hour earlier. Check the sodium content of the 3 packaged foods you eat most frequently. Bread, soup, and condiments are the highest hidden sodium sources in the average older adult's diet. Replacing even one with a lower sodium alternative reduces the daily load meaningfully.
And the next food is the one most people eat every morning believing it's healthy, but it doesn't weaken your muscles first. It goes after something far more dangerous, your nerves. The nerves in your feet are constantly talking to your brain, handling every step, every shift, every tiny correction that keeps you upright. Now imagine those signals arriving just a little late. That's what refined sugar does over time, and here is the part most people never hear. You do not need diabetes for this damage to start. Even slightly elevated blood sugar can slowly damage the nerves that keep you balanced. And when those signals slow down, you don't notice it immediately. You notice it when it's too late. You step down in low light, your foot doesn't fully feel the ground, your brain expects a correction, it never comes, and that split second is where falls happen. Find your 2 biggest sugar sources. For most people, it's sweet drinks and packaged sauces. Fix just those, and you start protecting your balance immediately. But sugar is not the fastest way to lose your stability. The next one goes after the muscle that saves you when things go wrong. Ultra-processed foods. This is the silent one because people think they're eating enough, but they're not feeding muscle. These foods are low in real protein, high in refined carbohydrates, and full of additives that reduce how well your body absorbs nutrients. So your body is trying to stay strong, but your food is working against you. Your foot catches the edge of a step, your legs should react instantly, but it's just slightly slower than it used to be. Not enough to notice during the day, but exactly enough to matter in this moment, and that is when falls happen. Look at one meal today. If there's no real protein in it, that is where the decline starts. Now, the most dangerous one on this list, because people believe it is healthy, doctors still recommend it, and it is quietly accelerating weakness. Low-protein meals. A bowl of oatmeal, a light salad, soup with crackers. It feels right, it feels responsible. But after 70, this is where things go wrong. Your body now needs much more protein per meal to maintain strength, not per day, per meal. Most older adults need around 30 grams of protein each time they eat, but these meals provide almost none. So instead of maintaining muscle, your body starts breaking it down, meal after meal, day after day. And here is the dangerous part. This is happening to people who believe they're eating well, who think they're doing everything right. You stand up from your chair and your legs feel slightly less stable than they used to be. Not dramatic, just enough that you reach for support without even thinking about it. That is not just aging. That is a protein gap that has been building for years. And that slight instability is exactly how falls begin. Add one real protein source to every meal. Eggs, fish, chicken, dairy. Every meal, every day. That is the shift that protects strength. None of these foods cause a fall instantly. What they do is reduce your margin, the margin of strength that catches you, the margin of nerve response that keeps you balanced, the margin that determines what happens in one critical moment. And every day, that margin gets smaller until one normal moment becomes the moment everything changes. But here's the good news. That margin is not fixed. You can protect it, and in many cases, rebuild it. Just 3 changes this week. Reduce your alcohol, check one high-sodium food you eat often, and add protein to your weakest meal. 3 simple decisions that directly affect whether you stay independent. Because most falls are not random, they're the result of what has been happening quietly for years. You cannot control everything, but you can control what you eat, and after 70, that matters more than most people are ever told. Staying upright, staying independent, standing without hesitation, that is worth changing a few things this week. Falls don't start when you lose balance. They start with what you repeat every day. If staying independent matters to you, subscribe, because one video like this can prevent a fall that changes everything. We'll see you in the next one.